Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today I wanted to go over every single one of these things that you see here on the windowsill from the Linux box, the TV tuner that sits on top of it, the Black Mirror Blu-rays, and also the Blu-ray drive over there. Because each one of these items is not just there for me to have some retro technical stuff sitting behind me. Each of these items is there because it represents something that's philosophically important to me and also to the ideals that I go over on the channel. And I want to explain each of them as best as I can. This is likely going to be a rambling video. I apologize for that because there's going to be nostalgia involved, and I'm also just not in an editing mood today. So the first item is a television tuner. It's a Silicon Dust HD Home Run. This is a dual ATSC tuner that allows you to plug in an antenna to it. And once you plug in the antennas to it, you can watch two separate TV channels at the same time or record two separate TV channels at the same time to your computer. It's awesome. So back in the day, the reason that I love this thing is because similar to today, if I want to pay for content, I get a shittier experience than when I try to get it for free. And there's actually nothing illegal about what I was doing with this box. I would plug a TV antenna into it, and then I could watch TV. So for those of you who are younger to this channel, hi, you may not be aware of this, but people used to connect antennas to their televisions to get TV. If you wanted to watch Seinfeld, or Everybody Loves Raymond, or 24, or Prison Break, or Heroes was awesome. If you wanted to watch these shows, you either had parents that had enough money to get cable, or if you didn't have cable, you bought a shitty TV and you plugged in some $15.99 or Zenith antenna into it, and you would point it someplace and you'd try to get reception and you'd pray that it worked. And if with analog TV, you'd usually accept getting shitty reception, especially if you lived in an area with trees. If you had HD TV, which is digital, you either had signal or you didn't. So instead of plugging the antenna into the television, what I did is I would plug it into this box. And this box allowed me to get better quality than what I could get when I was paying for things. So I used to love this TV show called 24. I know everybody's going to meme on me because 24 is one of these shows where you're supposed to celebrate your Fourth Amendment rights being violated. And Kiefer Sutherland, I got to hand it to him. He is an exceptional actor. I would watch this show, and I'm ashamed of it as an adult. I would root so hard for him to violate the Fourth Amendment rights of every single person he came into contact with. You'd see the little Poindexter ACLU lawyer walking in and going, actually, sir, you're not allowed to do that. I know this man looks like somebody who's grinning and really excited to blow up a bunch of children, but actually, you're not allowed to do this. We have to see it. You would just be so excited for Jack Bauer to run in the room, punch the lawyer in the face, start breaking the guy's fingers, figure out where the bomb is, save everybody, save the children, nobody gets blown up, and everybody's happy. But I used to like that show. Now, let's say I want to watch that show and I want to pay for it because I care about paying for my content, which we're going to get to. If I wanted to pay for the show, let's say I missed an episode that came out. Well, I can't, there's no streaming services or anything back in 2004, 2007. So if I want to watch it, I have to wait 6 to 18 months for it to come out on DVD. Now, when it comes out on DVD, it's low bitrate, 480i, interlaced, low resolution, and sucks. What they were broadcasting over the air was 720p on Fox. In New York City, I think their Fox was 7 and 9 megabit per second. CBS was crazy. It was like 1080i, but at 18 megabit per second, which was nuts back then for MPEG-2. I know if you're in Washington or Oregon, I think they had low bitrate CBS, but an 18 megabit per second Fox. There's totally no reason that I have all these bit rates memorized around the country. But anyway, the thing is, I could, even in an area like New York City, where Fox was broadcast in low bit rate back in 2007, you still were able to get a much higher quality copy if you recorded it was being broadcast over the air than if you actually bought the DVD. So if I recorded it, I had a high quality copy immediately. If I wanted to be a proper citizen and buy it, I would have to wait 6 to 18 months to get a copy that was like half the bit rate and a quarter of the fucking resolution. Makes no sense whatsoever. And it really follows a trend that I've noticed for over 25 years now, which is that content providers consistently fail at providing people that want to pay the better option than people that just go out there and get it for free. And there was actually nothing illegal about this. This isn't even a Section 1201 violation. I'm literally just taking a TV tuner and I'm recording an MPEG-2 transport stream that was broadcast unprotected because these television shows make their money off of the advertisements. When you were to watch a television show, if you were to watch 24, while you're watching your 1 hour of propaganda on why the Patriot Act is great and why, Jack Bauer should just be allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants, and if I know it sounds silly, if you watch that show, you'd be rooting for Jack Bauer to do whatever the hell he wants to. It's good propaganda. You would have an hour of the show, but 20 minutes of ads. And that is what allowed the programming to be broadcast and be able to, they could still afford to pay the actors, all this other shit, and make the television. That was the arrangement. I would record that show, and then after I would record it, I would use a video editing program, something basic like, I don't remember exactly what I used back then, but it was some really bare bones looking shit, like AVI DMX looking shit, and I would cut out the commercials, and then I would save a copy of them for myself. Now, there were other people that I knew that also would like to watch these TV shows. And let's say they wanted to watch CSI Miami. Why you'd want to watch David Caruso is beyond me. But they'd want to watch CSI Miami, and it wasn't enough to watch David Caruso in 7 megabit per second. They wanted to watch him in 18 megabit per second. And let's say I had 18 megabit per second CBS. I would send him my 18 megabit per second CBS. And let's say that this is back when I had Fios. And let's say that I wanted to watch 24, but my local station was 9 megabit per second. They had 18. We would trade shows with the people that I knew in IRC back then, and it was actually a lot of fun. And the sad thing about all of this, again, is if I wanted to pay for the fucking show and get it in full bit rate, I could not. And the same is true today with many things when I talk about what it's like to just use something like Netflix, and I pay extra for your 4K plan, but I have to jump through all these hoops. If I have the wrong brand processor on my computer, even if it gets a 70,000 CPU benchmark score, I'm not allowed to use that processor with your service because I have to have the proper DRM on everything, a proper web browser, the proper operating system. But if you pirate it, you get higher bitrate than what you would get for Netflix if you paid for it. For free. Pathetic. 20 years later, content providers still don't understand that providing people who want to pay for something a better experience than what they get when they do it for free is the way to go. This is a reminder of that. It's a reminder of the fun that I used to have, and it's a reminder of just what it was like back in the day, plugging my little TV tuner into my computer and inviting friends over to watch 24 and other shows, and being like, I would have it set up running to my Axiom M22 speakers that I had. I remember I had the DVI-D port. I had some DVI-D to component video thing back then to hook my television up to my computer, because you needed a really, really beefy computer back then if you wanted to play back 18 megabit per second MPEG-2. I would have to turn the fans up on my water cooling setup, put the computer in the other room or something so you could enjoy the television. Those are the days. So this is a fun reminder of that. And this is something that they're also trying to take away right now. They're trying to take away the ability with ATSC 3.0 to be able to watch high bitrate, high resolution recordings without connecting to the internet. And the reason for that is DRM. They want to have ATSC 3.0 set up. I think this is ATSC 2 or ATSC 1, I forget. But they want it to be set up where if you want to be able to do that, you will no longer be able to record the stream. You will no longer be able to do these types of things. And I think the reason for it is they just understand fundamentally that you get a better experience with an over-the-air broadcast than you do with half of this fucking streaming shit now. It's sad, but that's what's going on. And sadly, they're most likely going to win. I'd like to do a piece on the channel at some point going over ATSC 3.0 and all the limits. I think I got bit by a mosquito. God damn. I want to go over all the limitations that they're looking to put on this. They want to make it so that in order for you to receive an over-the-air broadcast of a television show, and if you want to receive it in full resolution, you have to be connected to the internet, which is fucking insane. It's an additional restriction that has absolutely no reason to be there. The whole point of over-the-air broadcast is that it does not need the fucking internet in order to work. The reason they wanted to require the internet in order to work is so that they could limit what you can do with the broadcast. And again, like I would have paid money so that I didn't have to fucking sit there with AVI demux or video redo and cut ads out of the program. You didn't provide me an option for it. That's on you, not me. Next up. This is a Linux distribution, SUSE Linux 8.1 Professional. This I paid, where is it? Here we go. Yeah, $80, $79.99, the $79.99 plus tax in 2002 when I bought this for my 13th or my 14th birthday. And this is a Linux distribution, and it comes with everything you could possibly want. It's got, yeah. Look, you could sign up for Linux Magazine. Here's how you subscribe to magazines back then. Look at that. That's how you subscribe to shit. These are the types of subscriptions I support. Consensual subscriptions for things that require a subscription. You could get support from SUSE if you wanted support without them just telling you RTFM. You got a bunch of CDs. At the time, I think I had dial-up. I don't think I had gotten DSL yet. And even if you did get DSL, you were stuck with 768 kilobit per second at the time. That was the fastest you could get for downstream, 128 upstream. And this is all the stuff you got. So you may think it's silly now to pay for Linux, but downloading all of this on dial-up, I mean, that was that's a month of not being able to make a phone call. You got the installation guide. This is a bunch of stock photos, so they had stock photos back then as well. And then also the most important thing is you got the manuals. So this is an administration guide and this is a user manual. These manuals were designed to be read by human beings. They actually make sense. They're not Linux man pages that are designed by programmers that will laugh at you and tell you to RTFM that don't make any sense. These manuals are actually designed for users. And since this software cost $80 because you paid for it, you expected it to come with a manual that was designed to be read by humans. And it was very valuable for me when I was an early teenager to be able to have access to this so I could understand how everything works. The reason that I was willing to pay for this is because they demonstrated that they had respect for me. And as I've said in some older videos, it's not about the money, it's about the respect. I was not willing to pay for Windows. I think the copy of Windows I had on that computer, the distributor of it was the same as the first Ethernet interface in this computer when I installed Linux on it. Windows did not respect you at all as a user. To this day, they don't really respect you as a user. If you look at all the garbage and spyware and bloat and shit that gets put into Windows 11, they would bundle it with a web browser that was so bad, that was non-standards compliant, so that everybody was forced into making their website work with Internet Explorer, which would break it for other sites, that you could go to a website, literally do nothing but just visit it, and your registry would have malware inserted into it. I didn't want to pay for that. But that didn't mean that I don't want to pay for things. At the age of 13, back when my annual salary was very close to what this box cost, I was willing to pay $80 for open source software. As Richard Stallman had said once, I have no problem paying for something as long as it's free. This is not just here to show that I like open source software or that I like and have used Linux for a very long period of time. But it's also there to make the point that if I find something valuable and you respect my freedom, I don't care that you're making it available for free. I'll still take 3 buses to go to Best Buy in the middle of winter to pay $80 for it. Back then, I would shovel your walkway, your sidewalk, and your driveway for $10. So this was 8 shoveling jobs, which is pretty much an entire day or weeks of work just so that I could buy something that you could download for free. And the point there is that even as a 13-year-old, when this cost close to my annual salary, I am more than happy to pay for something if you respect me. It's not about whether or not I can get it for free. It makes a point that just because something can be found on Kazaa or Nucleus or WinMX or Usenet or an IRC DDC bot or SoulSeek or something, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to provide or compensate the people that created something that is valuable to me. If you've provided me value, I will provide you value back. If you're dealing with an inflation calculator and you adjust not just for the year, but also for my age, $80 in 2002, like that might as well have been of like $80,000 for me. But the point is, I am willing to spend that. And I'm willing to do all the work to spend that just to provide compensation for people who provide a value to me. You provide a value to me. I don't care if your stuff is downloadable for free on SourceForge. I don't care if I can find it for free on Kazaa or Nucleus or WinMX or Usenet. I respect the fact that you respect me enough to respect my freedom, and I respect the fact that you made something that's useful. I'm going to compensate you for it. It's a part of my ethics, and it's not just something that I have as an adult. It's something that I had when I was 13 years old, and I also try to impart that onto my audience. I want to send the message in this channel that this is not just pure piracy. I just want everything for free and I don't care. I want to pay for things that I find valuable, but you better respect my freedom while I'm paying you. And if you don't respect my freedom, the HD home run comes out. Now, continue. This over here. Ignore the case. This is an OWC Mercury Pro case. This thing's an absolute piece of shit. Look at this thing. Look at this. You can't fucking even screw the drive in. But the drive itself, this is the point. This is a Pioneer BDR 2213. This is a Blu-ray drive that is a very, very special drive with a very, very special firmware on it that allows you to rip Blu-rays in 4K. Now, there is protection or encryption or some scrambling bullshit that are on all these Blu-rays, so that is difficult. They're not designed to be ripped. And some of these are 1080, but some of them are also full 4K. And there are some rippers out there that can't rip them at all. There are some rippers that will only rip the 1080p part, but not the 4K part. And this will be able to rip all of it, including the 4K part, which is completely necessary to me because I paid for this. I spent hundreds of dollars to buy all of these Blu-rays, and why would I not want to be able to watch a copy of it on my television using my computer? Why would I not want to be able to watch a copy of it on my Cohen A2? Oh, who am I kidding? You can't that thing's 480 by 272. Why would I not want to be able to watch it on my phone or another portable media player? Why would I not? This is mine. I paid for it. You're trying to tell me what I can and cannot do with what I bought and paid for. I have a file on here. I want to watch that file on my phone so that if I'm on a trip, I'm flying somewhere, I have something I could watch while I'm on the plane, and they're telling me I can't. There's scrambling crap that's built into here so that I can't access the file that's on this disk in the way that I want. I can only access it the way that you want, which means I have to, so in your world, I would carry a fucking portable Blu-ray player with me separate from my phone, a separate device that I have to charge and have a separate case for For what? Are you kidding? Fuck you. No, I'm going to take my BDR 2213. I'm going to use it to rip the file that I paid for so that I could watch it on my phone without having to pay for a separate service that has a separate subscription and all this other bullshit. It's my file. You sold me the file. Now, I'm not allowed to then take that file and then start selling it to everybody else. I can't claim that I made Black Mirror. I can't claim authorship over it. But that's my file. If I want to watch it on my fucking device, whether it is my phone or my Cohen A2, I'll watch it on my device. You don't get to tell me what I'm allowed to do with it. That's what this is. BDR 2213 with a very specific firmware. And then the Black Mirror Blu-rays. Why Black Mirror instead of something else? Because we live in it. That's not an exaggeration. Season 7, Episode 1, Common People. It talks about subscriptions and what happens to somebody's brain when they didn't pay the subscription. Look at this video that I did back in June of 2023. This episode came out after that. A lot of people look at Black Mirror and they talk about what the future may look like if things don't go properly. And the point that I want to get across to people is that we already live in that future. If you're actually paying attention to what's going on in the world and what they talk about in these episodes, they're not predicting the future. They're just simply documenting what's already occurred. Season 7, Episode 1, Common People. This came out after I did a YouTube video going over a woman who had a brain implant ripped out of her because the company went out of business. They didn't let her keep it. This episode, when you look at the subscriptions and the brain implants and what they're going over, this series or this season started being written shortly after I had created that video in June of 2023. Now, maybe they read the same article that I did. Maybe they saw my video. I don't know. I'm not going to take credit for inspiring Black Mirror. But the point of the matter is that they were not predicting what could happen in the future. They were documenting with a teeny tiny bit of hyperbole what has already happened. The woman that lost her brain implant and started having seizures again and lost her identity as a human being because that company ripped the brain implant out of her head, that's revocation of ownership. There are a number of episodes here, and if I wanted this video to be an hour long, I could make it an hour long, where they're talking about things that are not something that could happen in the future. They're discussing something that has already occurred. And the point that I want to make when I put this here is that you're not crazy if you realize that pattern. I want to incentivize you to think about wanting to take it back. Every one of those items in my window has a point. Yeah, I may ask for a lot of freedom, and I may want to be able to have full control over my computer. But I also pair that with the responsibility of paying for things that I find valuable. Not just something that I say right now, something that I was doing back when I was 13 years old, when I decided to take the bus to Best Buy in the middle of New York City winter so that I could hand over $80 of my money for an operating system that was free. Those are the ethos that I live by. And those are the ethos that I hope that people that watch ascribe to live by. I'm not saying that if you have $80 left and you have to choose between food and Linux, that you choose the Linux. That's not what I'm saying. The point I want to make is that when I ask for rights, I'm going to tie that to taking on responsibility. I'm sick and tired of the conversation the way that it works now, where you have these people that make it sound like if we gave them even an ounce of freedom or the ability to use what they bought and paid for, that the world economy would collapse overnight because those degenerates would never actually support their fellow man and woman or provide them value in exchange for what they provided if they didn't have to. That's not how it works. I'm not one of those people. And you don't get to talk to me like I am. I pay for what I find valuable. I always have. I provided value in exchange for people who provided me value, but I'm not going to provide you with value if you don't provide me with respect. And if you don't provide me with that respect, BDR 2213, go burr. And if you disagree with me on all of this, it doesn't fucking matter, because all the king's horses and all DRM did not stop Black Mirror from showing up on SoulSeek and Usenet in full 4K anyway. And it wasn't me that did it. Just saying. Just throwing it out there that if I want a 80 gigabyte Blu-ray file uncompressed of almost any movie in fucking existence, it takes less than 90 seconds to find it. All you're doing is you're making it more miserable for normal everyday people. It has been over 24 years now. None of your digital locks have worked. None of them. Piracy still exists. The only person who watches that notice on the beginning of a Blu-ray movie are the people who paid for it. That could be the entire video right there. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let's change the conversation about digital ownership, DRM, and piracy. I'm sick and tired of just being this conversation of everything should be free versus no, we're upstanding citizens and it shouldn't. Nah, fuck that. I reject the framing. I reject it with my $80 manual that I paid for 23 years ago. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.